playing field. Didn't he promise us that? I mean, maybe I'm
Well,
more.
it's taken them 2 administrations, two terms. Watch the second term.
I am.
Keep the faith, brother.
Yeah, I'm
What
very.
do you think about all this? After all this historic stuff we've talked about black people,
No,
and we've got a black president.
no. I think the presidency of Barack Obama and Michelle is a great. It's a great image for African people.
Amen.
It's a great thing for African people. But I look at what happened in Libya, and I know that
What could he have done
Gaddafi,
different?
what could he have done different? Gaddafi was doing a lot for Africa.
Yeah.
But his people,
Yes, his people. Whose people?
his people,
Are you talking about
Libyan
Gaddafi's people? Libyan people?
Libyan people.
Listen, education was free. Hospitalization was free. People in Libya got a check from the oil distribution money. Their standard of living in terms of their participation in government was much higher than ours.
Right.
Now, you ask me what could he have done different. I don't know if he could have done anything different. He is the President of the United States of America.
Right.
We're still trying to shape America
Right.
to be what it promises to
Amen.
be. It is not that. And that's what I've been talking about all the
Right.
time.
Right.
We have been called by the Creator to make America the great place, or the Mecca that it could be. We've been here and we've worked on it, and we're still working on it. So the job is not finished. The country is not finished. It's not what it could be or should be, and our work is not finished. And look,
Our work is just beginning. You just
Yes.
said it right there. We're
Absolutely.
elders. We're over 70, right? So
Absolutely.
we should be doing a lot. We should be giving back. Since we're blessed with having lived 70 years black in America, I mean, that's a miracle in itself.
Absolutely. That's an absolute miracle. And so
All right?
I think that we have a lot of work to do, and
Okay.
and I think that we need to put together plans and programs
Okay.
and really move, because see, it's 3 things we need to stay. We need to stay godly.
Right.
We need to
Amen.
stay focused.
Amen.
And we need to be vigilant, because we are at war as an African people in this America. There is all kinds of programs to exterminate us. You can't tell me that over 1 million black men in these jails in America, when most of them are there for some related drug or whatever, when other people are doing as much drugs and more drugs, but they ain't in jail. Right. They're not filling these prisons. I mean, we are dying from every disease. Why? You know, we need to look at the pathology that has created the condition that we're in, but we don't need to just look at the pathology. We need to do something about it, and that's on us.
How do you teach our own these problems that you're talking about? As an elder, how do you teach our children not to go through the same, to know that it's planned genocide, and what do you do to combat it? You love one another to start with.
Yes.
You stop killing each other.
There's
the first part.
The 3 things that you mentioned, we don't have.
What? Godly, focus, and diligence?
And diligence. Our people have stepped away from all 3 of those.
That's the problem.
They stepped away from all 3.
I think a lot has to do with the way we ourselves perceive ourselves.
Amen.
A lot
There's
of
the
times
point.
I stand on the corner and just watch black people. I stand on the corner of Flatbush because I live in that area in Nostrand, and I just watch black folk. And I see them not as criminals and not as degenerates, and I see them as the pharaohs, and I just look at them and I see these beautiful people, And that's the way, that's my perception.
Because you
of
know the
us.
truth. You know the truth, Clemson.
And I've been able to go into some of the, I mean, I remember when I used to film in Harlem, like the African American Day Parade, and I had these new cameras, and you know, and I remember getting on a side street one time, and in this group of young men, there's so many of them, and somebody said, "Hey, take that camera. Let's take that camera." And I looked the brother right in the eye. I said, "You know what? You can try to take this camera, but I don't want to live in my community when I can no longer feel safe enough to be among my people. So you come on, take this camera. Now, you're going to have a fight taking it, because I ain't going to let you take it. But if you do, it's all right, because I don't want to live in a state like this. So come, jump, come. Come."
Of course, he didn't make a move.
No. And it kind of froze everybody, because they didn't know. But I was serious. I really don't want to live in our community. But at the same time, I don't want to live in our community when it is that deadly, when we hate each other to the point that, you know, I don't see it. I don't
That's
feel
what
it.
we got.
But, you know, this is, I spoke with Aisha Sekou today, and she was on our last show, and we were talking about the situation in Harlem with the youth and the violence. There were 2 more shootings in Harlem this week where young people have been killed, and she is right now trying to get the kids in the community to step back, take a breath, think,
Yeah.
as opposed to going after the people that they think are responsible for the shooting. See, although you perceive our people as pharaohs, as great scientists, and knowing our history, the tragedy is that our people don't perceive themselves
That's right.
as such,
That is true.
and are living far below their own capabilities. This was a problem in ancient Jerusalem when Artaxerxes' cupbearer, Nehemiah, got permission to go back to rebuild the wall in Jerusalem. He said that when he got there, he saw his people living in holes in the ground and rubble of buildings. And just think about, move from biblical time to modern time. And he said his people perceived the way that they were living as normal. And we are not, a lot of us are not living normally.
That's right.
Killing each other is not normal.
That is correct.
Yeah.
It is abnormal.
Yeah.
And we need to understand, in a culture that says might makes right or majority rule, dead wrong. You can have majority. That doesn't mean that the people who are the majority are thinking correctly.
That's right.
You had a majority which years ago said it was okay to lynch black people. You had a majority in Germany that said it was okay to exterminate Jews. The fact that you have a majority doesn't make it right, morally right, ethical. If you have a massively sick society, everything coming out of it is going to be sick.
That's right.
And sickness has become the norm now.
That's right.
The sickness in this society,
That's right.
you know, very candidly, no. They want to teach kids in school about, I have 2 daddies, I have 2 mommies. It's not normal. It's not.
Correct.
And you're not ever going to get me to go along with what I know is not normal. You're not going to tell me that up is down. You're not going to tell me in is out. You're not going to piss in my face and declare that it's raining. It's not happening. I am not stupid yet.
Anytime you got a society where you go up in Harlem and a black man will look at you and just don't know you from Adam, or growl at you and ready to punch you out and kill you because you looked at him the wrong way, that's madness. That is crazy. We don't like each other.
That's Deuteronomy 28.
You know what I mean?
He spoke about godliness.
Yeah.
That's the first phase.
And we end the show with the God in me loves the God in you. That's the way black people have to feel about themselves, so we can uplift the entire planet.
Oh, I agree.
All right? You
Get
say
no
that
argument
God
out of me.
consciousness, that God consciousness.
But what are we focused on then?
How do we focus on it?
Teaching.
I spoke with G2
Wasi.
maybe 2 months ago, because I wanted to do a piece on Ocean Hill, Brownville. And he was telling me that when he was a teacher there, and Les Campbell, and that one of the things they did was to bring in African history. They started having lecture series. And he said that before that, these kids were fighting each other and so forth, but once they began to understand who they were,
That's right.
it had such a profound impact on them that it just shifted to their relationship with one another.
Amen.
That the fighting went down.
Amen.
80% of the destruction that was perpetrated amongst themselves was cut after they initiated programs that taught African history. They began to feel proud about themselves. Their confidence went up. Their marks went up. Everything went up. And that's from understanding who they are. That's from understanding their history. So, one, we've got to teach the history. I have a tremendous amount of lectures and history from traveling with Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark and Van Sertem and all of the, and can I tell my website so people can go on it and look at it?
Why not?
If they go to tapvideo.com, tapvideo.com, there is a tremendous wealth of knowledge about African history from great researchers like Van Sertem and
Give
Ben
that
and Hilliard.
website again.
That's tapvideo.com. Tapvideo. Tapvideo.com.
Okay.
And every home should have a library
Of course.
of African history.
Amen.
And because we don't read enough, then look at the videos and teach one another. Families should get together and look at these videos and see what we have done and begin to do the research and know who we are. Once we know who we are, we will be who we are.
And you know, you're not going to get this on the History Channel.
No.
Yeah.
The History Channel, it was interesting. I was watching a piece they did on Hannibal, but I didn't see an African.
No.
Hannibal was from Carthage, Northern
Is that
Africa,
right?
Which is now,
Carthaginian. But the people who are in Carthage now are a multicultural mix of people. The people in Egypt now, they're a multicultural mix. They're not Nubians. They're from Asia. They're from Europe. They're a mixture of people.
Like America.
But the fact is that when you talk about Cleopatra and all those people, those were Nubians. Those were people who were darker than I
Okay.
and you. That's what they look like. When you look at the History Channel, you don't see that.
Oh, well,
And mass media plays into this too. And that's why seeing something on tap video compared to looking at something from the History Channel, kids can really see who the characters were or get an understanding of who the characters were.
how often on Sunday do they
now,
praise the black Jesus, who he was?
Now-
Jesus was black.
that is
True.
true. That, see,
Okay.
we have lectures, by the way, it's tap video, all one word, lowercase, tapvideo.com, all one word, lowercase. These are lectures. Now, we do have some documentaries because we've traveled to Egypt, we've traveled to Ethiopia, to Lalibela, where you have the rock-hewn
Rock Hill.
churches that are literally
Buried.
carved down in the ground, carved out of solid rock, just like the Sphinx was. You've never seen, I've never seen anything like those rock-hewn churches in Ethiopia. But one of the great loves I had was traveling with everybody and filming everybody and documenting everybody. And that was what I wanted to come back. I have over 30,000 hours.
Okay.
And
we need to do something with all this. You and I need to really join this partnership and have some place to put all this stuff.
Yes.
We're going to do this. You watch.
That's
why you've come back to us.
Yes, that was what I was trying to say. So you took the words out.
That's exactly why you came back. Because we've been talking about this for how many years now? We've been talking about for 10 years we've been talking about this.
There were 3 great libraries that I am familiar with. Of course, the greatest was Gil Noble.
Amen.
I mean,
amen.
Gil.
I had him on last week, where we talked about building something uptown in Harlem, an M&N uptown.
Yeah.
That was the show last week. I'll give you a copy of the tape.
I'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
I respected and loved Gil and had the opportunity to be in some of the think tanks that he was in over the last year or so.
How's he doing?
Gil is struggling, and we need to continue to pray for him.
Amen.
Another great library was Elizabeth Milton of South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
He was with South Carolina Television, and he had a Shakeout to Diop, and he did the same work. And when he passed, that body of work was claimed by South Carolina Educational Television. So that work was never made public, and so we lost that body of work.
Okay.
And then there's TAP Video, Transatlantic Productions Archives, which is one of the largest. We have some 30,000 hours that really cover just about everything that happened in New York from, by the way, Herb Boyd. I was supposed to be doing a piece with Herb Boyd. We're teaming up. He had given me an assignment, but with this brain thing.
Slowed you down from
slowed me down a lot. But if Herb watches your show, I'm on it, Herb. I'll be there.
All right. We'll make sure he knows about it.
But this is so critical, and Gilchrist, you've been out here doing this work, and I think you're right. We need a team,
about time.
And we need across the country to pull together this body of work, and to have archives that our people can go for research and documentation. And it's happening. It's coming together. It's going to happen, but it is not happening fast enough because we don't have the resources. That's been my problem.
We're going to get them.
I've spent all my